Hi gang, I'm Parnosaurus. Welcome to this installment of Marvel Heroes. Before we get started, I'd like to thank the team at Gazillion Entertainment for creating a great action role-playing hero game and for allowing me to use their content. Today we're going to discuss choosing our first hero. We are looking at the character selection screen here. On the left are your starting 12 heroes, and when selected, you'll see information on the right, including a selection of powers available to the heroes, along with some YouTube videos showing you what the powers look like. Before we get started on choosing your hero, it's important to know that you can't really make a bad choice. Some choices are better than others, and that's what we're here to determine. Also, every day you log into Marvel Heroes, you are presented with a gift. On day 2, you'll receive 400 Eternity Splinters, allowing you to purchase a second hero with a much larger selection choice. The heroes available to us are Iron Man, Storm, Rocket Raccoon, Cyclops, Punisher, Hawkeye, Luke Cage, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and Black Panther. Let's move on to the individual heroes and the scoring criteria. Okay, it's time to choose a hero. The best advice I can give before we really start that, though, is to consider playing the hero you love most, your favorite hero. However, if you want a little bit of help with that, we need to come up with a rating system. The best way to do that is to look at several factors. First factor would be to look at the cost of the heroes. They're broken down in either a cost by purchasing it with real money or by collecting Eternity Splinters, and that is what I'm going to use to evaluate the cost. Second score, hero leveling. Some of the heroes are weaker than others, some spend their resources very quickly, some even run out of resources using their super movement powers just to get to their destination. All of these factors have an effect on leveling and leveling enjoyment. Third score is gearing. Is it tough getting the gear to make this hero efficient and successful once it's level 60? Is it going to take many runs to get the gear, or is the gear readily available immediately upon reaching level cap? This score reflects that. Final score is endgame. Leveling a hero through the top level and playing the hero in endgame are very different. Some heroes are fantastic to level, but suffer once they reach the top level. Some heroes are quite difficult to play, and others push the fun factor way up. Let's get started on the heroes. Iron Man is first up. Iron Man costs 600 Eternity Splinters. He is the most expensive in the batch. He gets a cost of 30 because of this. Playstyle. He is a lot of fun. Ranged AoEs with some single target and a little bit of melee makes him a really rounded character. He's a little squishy, therefore we're going to give him a leveling value of 6 due to some spirit issues. In terms of gear, he's only going to get a 6. He is kind of tough to gear. And finally, endgame, he's still super fun. Going to give him a score of 7. That gives us a total score for Iron Man of 49. With Storm, she only costs 200 Eternity Splinters, therefore she gets a cost of 10. Playstyle is ranged heavy AoE. Due to this and her high fun factor, Storm is arguably the best hero in the selection to level. She is difficult to gear, therefore she gets a gearing score of 4. Finally, due to her low single target DPS, she gets an endgame score of 7, giving Storm an overall score of 31. Rocket Raccoon has a Eternity Splinter cost of 400, therefore he gets a score of 20. In terms of playstyle, he is a ranged balanced gun hero. He's a little squishy and he is quite fun to play. I'm going to give Rocket a level score of 8. In terms of gearing, 3 of the 5 main gear pieces are high-end gear requirements, so he's only going to get a gearing score of 3. Endgame, he's a little squishy with a lackluster ultimate skill, giving him an endgame value of 6. Rocket's total score is 37. Our next hero is Cyclops. Cyclops is a ranged single target hero with light AoE. Unfortunately, he is considered as not fun to level or play. He's going to get a leveling score of 2. In terms of gearing, Cyclops is reasonable to gear, so we're going to give him a score of 6. Arguably, Cyclops is the weakest of all the heroes, and he gets an endgame score of 1. Of special note, however, Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, is the only hero that will give all of your other heroes a bonus of 10% experience to level, making him especially useful to get leveled up as soon as possible. Cyclops gets a total score of 29. Next up is Punisher. Punisher costs 400 Eternity Splinters, giving him a cost score of 20. In terms of leveling, he is a ranged, balanced gun hero. He has some early high spirit issues, so we're only going to give him a value of 6 for leveling. In terms of gearing, he needs several difficult to obtain artifacts, so we're only going to give him a gearing score of 6. In terms of endgame, Punisher has some very high single target brutal strikes, which makes him very capable, and he really is very fun. He gets a score for endgame of 8, and he gets a total score of 40. Our next hero is Hawkeye. Hawkeye costs 200 Eternity Splinters, so he gets a total cost score of 10. For leveling, well, Hawkeye suffers the same way that Cyclops does. He is not considered to be especially fun. There's no problem leveling him through the game, although it seems uninspired. Gets a total score of 6. In terms of gearing, he is difficult to gear, so he only gets a gearing score of 4. Endgame, he is arguably among the weakest of all the heroes, so he's going to get an endgame score of 3. Hawkeye gets a total score of 23. Next on our list is Luke Cage. Luke Cage costs 400 Eternity Splinters, gives him a total cost score of 20. He is a melee hero who does some light duty summoning. Early on, he does substandard DPS, so he's going to get a leveling score of 6. He is somewhat difficult to gear, so we're going to give him a gearing score of 6 as well. Finally, for endgame, Luke can take a hit, deals decent damage, therefore he's going to get a score of 7. Luke's total score comes to 39. Black Widow is next. Natasha costs 200 Eternity Splinters. She's going to get a cost score of 10. She is a hybrid ranged with light melee. She is quite fun and she is very easy to level. She's going to get a level score of 8. She is a little bit tougher to get the right gear, so she only gets a gear score of 5, but she is quite capable in endgame, and we're going to give her an endgame score of 7. Natasha gets a total score of 30. Hulk Smash! Hulk costs 400 Eternity Splinters and his cost score is 20. He is super fun. He does melee AoE and single target damage. We're going to give him a leveling score of 9. Hulk's reasonable to gear, so we're going to give him gear score of 6. Because he is a little squishier than he ought to be, we're only going to give Hulk an endgame score of 8. That gives Hulk a total of 43. Thor is next. Thor costs 400 Eternity Splinters, giving him a cost score of 20. He's a very solid hybrid melee ranged hero. He does suffer from early spirit issues and he does have slow movement powers, so we're going to give him a level score of 7. He is reasonable to gear, so he's going to get a gear score of 6, and he is a very capable endgame hero, so he's going to get an endgame score of 8. That gives Thor a total of 41. Captain America is next. 400 Eternity Splinters, that means the cost score is 20. Melee with light ranged for Cap. He has some fairly weak DPS early on. He's going to get a leveling score of 7. Difficult to acquire unique and a couple of special artifacts means that he's going to get a gearing score of 5. Cap puts out some very satisfying bigger hits, but he's a bit more squishy than he should be, so we're going to give him an endgame score of 7. Captain America gets a total score of 39. Last and certainly not least is Black Panther. Black Panther costs 400 Eternity Splinters. That means the cost score is 20. His playstyle is melee with some light summoning. He is a solid melee hero to level, so we're going to give him a leveling score of 7. In terms of gearing, Black Panther needs a saber-toothed furry mane, and that is among the most difficult artifacts in the game to obtain. He also has a few other tougher pieces to get as well. He's going to get a gear score of 1. T'Challa is a capable endgame hero. We're going to give him an endgame score of 7. Black Panther gets a total score of 35. Play your favorite hero? If you're undecided, let this list help guide you to a great first hero choice. Happy gaming, gang!